We've all heard the saying, comparison is the thief of joy, a sentiment often attributed to Theodore Roosevelt. But have you ever truly stopped to think about what that means? We live in a world where comparison is a constant presence, whether we realize it or not. We compare ourselves to others in terms of looks, success, relationships, and even our general life trajectory. It's all too easy to measure our own value against someone else's, but in doing so, we rob ourselves of one of the most important things we can possess: our own happiness. In this discussion, we'll dive deep into why comparison steals joy, how it affects our mental well-being, and how we can start to reframe our perspectives to reclaim that joy. Let's begin by acknowledging one of the biggest challenges of living in the age of social media: instant gratification. With just a few swipes, we can access other people's highlight reels. It seems like everyone else is living a life full of success, beauty, and adventure. And naturally, we start comparing. We might find ourselves thinking, why don't I look like them? Or why don't I have the success they have? This constant comparison sets up a dangerous cycle. It feeds a never-ending need to feel better or more accomplished, but instead of bringing us closer to happiness, it actually distances us from it, because no matter how much we accomplish, there's always someone else who appears to be doing more or doing it better. Now, let's talk about perfection. We live in a world where perfection is often praised, whether it's the perfect body, the perfect career, or the perfect relationship. And when we compare ourselves to these idealized versions, we feel inadequate. Our human flaws, the things that make us uniquely ourselves, become sources of shame. But here's the truth: perfection doesn't exist. The pursuit of it, however, creates a toxic cycle. We see someone else's perfection and try to mirror it, but in doing so, we lose sight of what makes us genuinely happy. Instead of celebrating our own achievements, we measure them against a standard that doesn't actually exist in real life. This is when comparison robs us of the joy of embracing our own authenticity. When we compare ourselves to others, we often find our self-esteem sinking. Research has shown that constant social comparisons, particularly those triggered by social media, can lead to feelings of depression, anxiety, and low self-worth. Why? Because our brains are wired to seek validation, and when we measure ourselves against others, we're setting ourselves up for failure. If we can't meet the expectations we've placed on ourselves based on someone else's success, we feel defeated. But the truth is, every person's journey is unique. What works for one person might not work for you, and that's okay. When we start measuring our worth by external standards rather than our own internal growth, we lose sight of the things that truly matter. This is when joy fades away and comparison takes its place. Another dangerous part of comparison is the illusion of success. We see someone's outward success, their job, their home, their relationships, and assume that they have it all together. But what we fail to see are the challenges, struggles, and sacrifices that often lie behind closed doors. Everyone has their battles, and comparison blinds us to the fact that success isn't always as perfect as it appears. Instead of focusing on what others have, we should shift our focus inward. True joy comes not from measuring ourselves against someone else's life, but from finding fulfillment in our own journey, whatever that looks like. Once we stop comparing, we can start appreciating the path we're on and the progress we've made. So, what can we do to stop comparison from stealing our joy? The key is reframing. First, we must remind ourselves that our lives, our progress, and our experiences are not less valuable just because they're different from someone else's. Second, we can start focusing on gratitude for what we have right now. When we embrace gratitude, we start to see the blessings in our own lives rather than focusing on what's lacking. Finally, we must practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate the small wins and don't minimize your progress just because it doesn't look like someone else's. Life is not a race. It's a personal journey. The only person you need to compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Comparison is the thief of joy because it distracts us from the simple truth that our happiness doesn't depend on what others are doing. When we focus on our own growth, appreciate our own achievements, and embrace our unique path, joy becomes abundant. So, the next time you find yourself comparing, remember, you are enough as you are, and your life is your own to shape. Let go of the comparison trap, and let joy be yours.